What a way to come into Shabbat. Shabbos, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. So glad you all braved the chilly late March, whatever is happening outside there. Although, did anybody see the rainbow? As I was here, there was a rainbow, which was also really nice. And then I got out of my car, and then it was less nice. It's fine. It's all fine. I'm so happy to be inside with all of you. And welcome. Everybody can say hello to everybody who's with us in their homes across the country, wherever you are. And welcome if you're here for the first time tonight. Is anybody here for the first time? I know at least one person. We see you. Welcome. Okay, so we're all here in body. I want to invite all of us to let our spirits and our breath catch up to where our bodies are located and become a little more aligned, connected, which is hard to do. It's hard to do on a Friday, coming sort of fresh off of whatever it is and wherever it is that you're coming from. Another week of ceaseless, constant stimulation of whatever form. And let's be honest, maybe also agitation. I found myself very agitated this week over the last 2 days, especially wanting to shout at NPR. Was anybody else listening to NPR just wanting to shout at NPR? But it's not NPR's fault that Lindsey Graham is on NPR. Mostly wanting to shout at Lindsey Graham. And some of the other folks interrogating, hopefully our next Supreme Court justice. And so I still am a little bit buzzing with some of that agitation, I have to be honest. And so part of coming in here is not sloughing it all off immediately and expecting ourselves to be in a completely different space, but it is inviting ourselves gently to shift modes. So I invite you to sit up a little straighter if you can. Breathe a little more deeply. Relax shoulders. And turn off NPR. or if you can't completely turn it off, tune it out or just turn it down, And just take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes if it helps. The tradition is to do 7 psalms to take us into Kabbalat Shabbat. That's sort of the constitution of the service we're about to do is 7 psalms. We don't always do all 7 of them, but the idea is to use 7 as the number representing the whole week to arrive at the present moment. So maybe the least we can do is take 7 breaths to arrive at this moment. So go ahead at your own pace. No need to rush. And we open up to page 2. invite you to stand on page 7. Mizmor LiDavid, Havu Adonai, Eli, Havu Adonai, Kavod Laos, Havu Adonai, Kevod Shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai, Adonai Kodesh, Kol Adonai. That's right. Bottom of 7, we can sit.
if you're not feeling it yet, let me lift you up by telling you a Peloton story, which I haven't told in a while.
You never do this.
I've never told a story about Peloton and Mishkan. Just kidding. If you're new here, this is a known thing I talk about. So I was on a run today with the one and only Bex Gentry, and she's talking about all these women who have done awesome things in history. And she talked about this one woman whose name I didn't write down because I was about 4 miles into a run, and so writing wasn't going to happen. So I don't remember her name, but I remember her story, and I will find you her name. This woman was a highway robber in the late 1800s. Like, she was a person who rode a horse around and robbed people at gunpoint on the highway, which I owe Bex the credit to say Bex did not endorse this lifestyle. But the woman was caught. She was apprehended by police and she was brought to trial. And she said in the trial, "I refuse to be put on trial for a set of laws that no one who looks like me or represents me wrote," and she peaced out. That is,
So cool.
that's a certain kind of energy, okay? And I was like, okay, yeah, I can add speed for that for sure, Bex, I got it. You want 8% incline? Like, whatever. 1800s, this woman is robbing people, mostly men, at gunpoint on highways on her steed, and she's like, "You can't try me for this because I had no hand in writing these laws, so good luck, call me when you have people who look like me helping write those laws." And that story reminded me of what Rabbi Lizzie opened by talking about, the sort of unnecessary grilling of the Honorable Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then the moment where Cory Booker got emotional and was like, "This means so much to me to see you there," right? Like, this is gonna mean so much to so many people to see you on our highest court. Because it matters to see people who look like us, and it matters to feel like we ourselves are involved in the process. And when we're not, the response could be despair. Right? This woman, whatever her name was, sorry. I promise this is a real story. This woman had a good point, and she could have despaired and she could have given up, and instead she said, "Call me when I'm involved in the process." And so there's this moment in Lecha Dodi about halfway through where we say, "Lo tevoshi velo tikalmi," don't despair, don't give up. V'nivneta ir al tila, the city will be rebuilt on the ruins of what happened before. Right? And it's this moment that it helps us transition. It helps us say, yes, the world is imperfect, it is broken, it's gonna take me some time to shake off even a little bit of that dust, and I probably am not going to fully be able to shake off all of the frustrations and the things that I'm feeling excluded from and the ways that the world doesn't conform to what I want it to be, but I will not despair. Right? We're going to hear from Rabbi Stephen a little bit later about like radical resistance. Not despairing is an act of radical resistance. Being able to say, this does not speak for me, and so I will not have any part of it. I want to be part of it. You have to make space for me. And then you come into Shabbat, and there is always space for you here. You are always welcome here. You can bring your despair, and you will always be welcome. And we will always continue to build a better world week after week together. And your showing up counters that despair. Your showing up makes that promise. V'nivneta ir al tila. The city will be rebuilt on the ashes. Your showing up continues to help us rebuild, to build better, to build on top of what came before, to build something that is more inclusive, to build something that represents us, that is more fair. So thank you for walking into the building tonight, for logging online, for being here, for not despairing, but for continuing to build towards a better world one step at a time. And that is the energy with which we greet the Queen of Shabbat. We will not despair, we will continue to build.
We're on page 8.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Davening
closer so those doors could actually walk over and open them. So we get the breeze and ease of the Shabbos bride entering the room in peace, bringing with her everything we need for 25 hours of respite and restoration.
בואי לשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצור עולם, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי קלה, בואי קלה, כל אחד דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקרב אליו, כל אחד דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקרב אליו, בני שבת נקרב אליו, בני שבת נקרב
There's a custom after you have said Kaddish for the first time at graveside that the people who come to bury somebody who aren't the immediate family but are there as the supporters form two lines, and then the immediate family of the mourner walks through the lines as they're leaving the cemetery, and everybody says to them these lines that are on the bottom of page 9. They say, you can say this with me if you want, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avlei Zion V'Yerushalayim. May the Holy One comfort you among the mourners of all of our people. And I'm thinking this week about Linda Hassey and Joel Cohen and Jenna Cohen, who lost Joel's mom, for whom we all attended and said Shiva and said Kaddish, and who are in their week of mourning right now, and anybody who's missing somebody tonight. We turn the page, we can sit down. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל ועלי היגיון וכינור. There's a line, it's bolded, means how great are your works, God, how deep your thoughts.
Hallelujah.
last two lines of this song. Le'hakid ki yasha Adonai tzuri velo alatabo. Shabbos, everybody. I feel in this moment like the purpose of Kabbalat Shabbat works. You know what I mean? Like we were talking 40 minutes ago about how we do all this stuff and then hopefully we feel more aligned and connected. I hope you're feeling a little bit like that. I feel like I am, and I'm very grateful for everybody kind of being in on it together. I had a meditation teacher in San Francisco once who said, do you know why we do this together, why you don't just meditate in your house? I mean, of course you can, but the reason why we do it together is so that at the moment you feel like you want to get up running, screaming out of the room, the pressure of everybody to just stay here and like go deeper into it keeps you here, and then you actually get what you intended to get when you came here in the first place. So I don't know if anybody actually felt like you wanted to get up and run screaming out of the room, but I do feel like there's sort of a conspiracy of togetherness that actually propels us, which I'm really, really grateful for tonight. So a couple of people are here for the first time, and I want to honor you. I want to say, and I want to ask you who you are and how you found us. So was there anybody over here? No? All right. Will you stand and let us know like who you are and where you hail from, how you found us?
Hi, I'm Serena. I hail from Evanston, Illinois, just up the road. I'm a cantorial student at Hebrew Union College.
Hey!
I'm hanging around here for now, and I'm so excited to be here. I heard of this place from word of mouth, and I'm having a great time.
Yay! Awesome. Welcome. Please.
I'm Casey from Los Angeles.
All right.
It's my first time in Chicago. So obviously also first time here. And she brought me.
Hey, welcome, Casey. Can I leave this on you?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. I'm a veterinary student from upstate New York, and I'm here visiting my friend Allie and working at Brookfield Tree with their veterinary team this month.
Oh.
I love that. Love.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, right here, and then right there.
I'm Harlan, and my wife came here a few weeks ago with my sister and brother-in-law, and I always follow their advice. Here I am, and happy to be here.
Happy you are here. Welcome.
I'm Steven. Coming at the request of Steven. Invitation. Just very grateful to be here. Thank you.
So glad you are. How many Stevens do we have? Only three?
It's a good solid.
Is there anybody else for the first time? Well, welcome. We're so glad you're here. So I promised Rhonda that I would deliver the results of March Mitzvah Madness, which I know might sound, I mean, is the actual basketball thing that's based off of still happening? It's still happening, okay.
And Duke is still in it.
Okay. Oh, great. So we also did a bracket, and we had teams battling each other, not for points scored on the basketball court, but for mitzvahs, because there are 4 mitzvot associated with Purim, and 55 people in teams competed against each other, and we have winners, and I'm supposed to announce the winners. And the winners are, and you already know this, Michael Meltzer, Ellen Bank, and Eliza Becker. They won first place. Carla Frisch, Lisa Portnoy, and Linda Kello. The won second place. And third place, Susan Horowitz and Jennifer Roth. Only 2 of you. But of course, we're all winners here, and so there were 24 teams competing. Most importantly, we donated of these 24 teams $1,700 collectively to 30 charities. as part of this project. And so that's just pretty cool as part of the mitzvot of Purim. Also, we partied really hard last week. And thank you to everybody who was part of that experience and who helped to make it happen. So things that are going on in the next few weeks at Mishkan here are, tonight is Friday, so tomorrow is Saturday, Shabbat also. We don't have services tomorrow, but we do next week on Saturday. We sort of alternate. So next week, Saturday morning, we'll be at JCYS on Lawrence and celebrating Judah Thacker's Bar Mitzvah. And then the following Friday night, we'll just, it's not going to be Purim. No, it'll be here. Not Purim, sorry. Passover, the other big holiday happening all too soon, which is also happening on a Friday night, not the 8th, but the 15th, and we will be off that night. And if people want help finding Seders, we can send people to, there are lots of different Seder options, and we're doing a second night Seder online, as has become our tradition now. And so you're welcome to join us for that. In the next couple of weeks, the kinds of things that are going on are, let's see, you're curious about conversion classes happening next Wednesday night. For anybody who's maybe thinking that you would like to explore conversion to Judaism, Rabbi Stephen's going to be talking about the experience.
Yeah, along with one of our amazing former conversion students, Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot will be talking about their experience as well. Rabbi Dina is teaching a class on Thursday mornings, but I think, is it? All right, so we shouldn't have even bothered advertising.
Next time you could sign up.
Yeah. And
There's
if
baby group and parenting teams.
do you want to say something about that for anybody who's parenting
Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. we have a baby group. If you have a baby 13 months or younger or know someone who does, we'll be at the office. Baby-friendly songs and snacks, and it'll be a lot of cuteness. And then starting on the 3rd of April, so next Sunday, not the one in 2 days, but the one in 9 days, I'm teaching a parenting Jewish teens class. So if you have a teen who is post-Bar Mitzvah but still living at home, you can come learn about and schmooze with and commiserate with other parents in that life stage.
Love it. And actually, I guess the last thing to mention is next week, Saturday night here, we're going to be hosting a group called Omdim Biyachad, Standing Together, which is a grassroots movement of Israelis and Palestinians that are working together to make Israeli society as equitable in terms of the social and climate justice and economic justice together. And so the two of the co-founders, a Palestinian woman and an Israeli Jewish man, are going to be speaking. They're kind of doing a tour around Chicago. And we are co-hosting that with the New Israel Fund and the Second Unitarian Justice Ministry here, which is kind of fun. And that'll be 6:30 next week right here. And I hope that you come and join us. It'll be really interesting. All right, I think we can move from here into Mariv. Yeah. Let's do it. We're going to stand. We're going to stand and turn to page 13. Oh, thank you.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai.
Take a seat.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרביב אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אתה
Love your people, Israel. Teaching us a way to live.
כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה ואהבתך ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל ידיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום, למען יבואו ימיכם וימי בניכם על מה שנשבע אדוני אתם לתת להם כי נשבעים בארץ. לדבר בני ישראל ומתי להם.
ויאמר אלי משה לאמור, אדוני אלוהיכם האמת.
ואונה חזור גם אלינו.
Pick up at the bottom of 18.
מי כמוך, באלים אדוני, מי כמוך, נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף נורא תהילות, אוסף
Page 19.
הלכותך
So we have a healthy group of people, between 20 and 30 people, every weekday morning tune in for Morning Minyan from coast to coast. I lead every Thursday morning. It is truly, actually, it's more than coast to coast. It's truly international at this point. We have representation from Sweden almost every day, Germany almost every day, Canada quite often, and many states in the Union. It's a hoot. I invite anybody to check it out. It's different every day. There are certain things that are consistent, and on Thursdays, because the traditional days to read Torah are Mondays and Thursdays, so in addition to reading Torah on Shabbat in a traditional synagogue, you'll hear Torah on Mondays and Thursday mornings. So our minyan is only half an hour. It's like half an hour to fit in all the stuff, which is not a lot of time. So on Thursday mornings, we'll read a verse or two. And then if it's a very juicy verse or two, very often people will stay on past 8:30 and we'll talk about whatever we read. And so this past Thursday, we read a particularly juicy, meaning challenging, bit of Torah. And it's about Aaron, the high priest, getting all of these instructions for how to make sacrifices in the Mishkan, which will result in him connecting with God in a very personal and palpable way, and also sort of conferring that on all the people, God's glory being, it's almost contagious. Once he does all these sacrifices and stuff, then the people themselves also will experience God's glory, and it's his son's job to follow in their father's footsteps. And so you get this whole depiction of Aaron doing all the stuff and doing it right, and it's very intricate, and there are lots of instructions, and they need to be done just so, and he does it right, and God's glory rests on the people. And then he has these two sons, Nadav and Avihu, and they did something that was not instructed of them, and they put incense in their pans, and they brought a strange fire, an Eish Zarah, before God, and then a fire goes out from God and consumes them, and they die. And Moses, in this moment, in the next verse, says a bunch of stuff. And Aaron, their father, is silent. Vayidom Aharon, Aaron is silent. And one of the things that makes these verses so drashable and so challenging is that it's really not clear what happened here. You could read that Nadav and Avihu did something wrong and they were punished, as often happens in the Torah. They did something God doesn't ask them to do, and so, Torah's an old book, it's ancient. When you do something wrong, God zaps you. Or maybe it's precisely the opposite. Maybe the word for sacrifice is the same word as to be close. Maybe they actually did something so very right that they were literally consumed by God, and they were rewarded with the ultimate reward for passion and creativity. Or maybe they didn't understand what they were doing at all, and their death was a senseless tragedy and an accident. And Moses, who interestingly, in the book of Exodus says, I don't really speak, I'm not good at talking. He has nothing but words. And Aaron, the guy who was tasked with speaking on behalf of the Jewish people, is dumbstruck, is completely silent in this moment. And then we, the readers, the Thursday morning Minyanites, have a bunch of stuff to say, which is basically uninformed. What do we know? But everybody has commentary and analysis when at the end of the day, we don't really know what happened. And I meditate a little bit on Aaron's silence, because it's so hard when there's complete lack of clarity to just have the humility to be quiet and listen. And I wonder about Aaron. Was he angry? Was he waiting for clarity, for an answer, compassion from others? Was he just waiting for everybody to shut up already? Maybe waiting for just all the analysis to stop, recognizing that analysis in the face of this kind of tragedy and lack of comprehension really only goes so far. And I don't know, I think that there's something to learn from his silence in the face of so much that we don't understand, and just a posture of humility and a breath taking and a silence making that is so rare in our very, very noisy world, full of so much pain and full of so much analysis. So as we go into Hashkivenu, as we go into this prayer for being sheltered under the wings of the Shekhinah, being underneath a sukkah of peace, I want to invite a little bit of quiet into our sukkah. Jews are known, we're a feisty people. We have a lot to say, right? And that's a good thing generally. But it can also be a deflection of sadness or of what's really going on. Stephen's going to play a few bars. And I want to just give a moment or two for you to feel whatever the underlying pain or the underlying wondering or sadness we so often cover up with words and distractions. What is it? Who is it for? Hashkivenu is an opportunity to pray for the people who we know need a prayer, people who are sick, people who are struggling. Maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody you know. Before we sing, just take a moment and bring anyone to mind that you're thinking about, who you want to send this prayer off to. And you can say their name out loud. If you're online, you can drop their name in the chat. Who are we sending this holy silence and solidarity to? Solidarity of silence. We're on page 19. Eloheinu shalom le'amideinu shomreinu lechaim ufros aleinu sukkah shelomecha ufros aleinu sukkah shelomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ve'ha'amideinu Shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu sukkah shelomecha ufros aleinu sukkah shelomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. לעשות את השבת לדורותם בטובה. דיינים ובני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם. איש ימי עשה אדוני את השמיים
Bottom of 20.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבב בעלמא תברח חירותי בעמים עמתך ביום אחד נו חיי לכל בית ישראל בהגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו אמן יהי שמי רבב מבורך לעולם ולעולם יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויזרמן ויתנצל ויתודה ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ויתו לילה יתרום וחצה דשי אתה תושחת ונחמתה דמירם בעלמא וימרו אמן וימרו 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 אמן איי 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 איי
On Silence by Gunilla Norris. Within each of us, there is a silence as vast as a universe. We're afraid of it, and we long for it. When we experience that silence, we remember who we are, creatures of the stars, created from the cooling of this planet, created from dust and gas, created from the elements, created from time and space, created from silence. Silence is something like an endangered species, an endangered fundamental. The experience of silence is now so rare, we must cultivate it and treasure it. Silence brings us back to basics, to our senses, to ourselves. It locates us. Without that return, we can go so far away that we end up, quite literally, beside ourselves. Politicians and visionaries will not return us to the sacredness of life. That will be done by ordinary people who together or alone can say, remember to breathe, remember to feel, remember to care. Let's do this for our children and ourselves and our children's children. Let's practice for life's sake. The Amidah, just done personally and quietly, it starts on page 21, it ends on 28. You can use this space for your own personal prayer. We'll come back in a few minutes.
When you feel ready to sit, I invite you to take a seat. Shabbat shalom, everyone. So we've worked really hard to reach this moment. And I have to be really honest, I'm sitting with a lot of feelings that are making it hard to lean into the peace that we've created in this space. About a month ago, when we last gathered here, I mentioned the Don't Say Gay bill, a piece of legislation in Florida that would prohibit educators from speaking about LGBTQ issues in the classroom. And in that month, since I mentioned it in this space, it has passed the House and it has passed the Senate, and it will soon be signed by Governor DeSantis. And I am angry, and I am sad, and I am honestly tired of fighting the same battle that we as queer people have been fighting for my entire life, of feeling like every step forward is met with a disproportionate pushback. And this bill, this Don't Say Gay bill, is just one of many. Because this year alone, lawmakers have proposed a record 238 bills that would limit or curtail the rights of LGBTQ folk in this country. And for comparison's sake, this 238, less than 200 were filed in total last year, and it is late March. That's an average of 3 bills per day. And a little over half of these specifically target the trans community. And these bills include measures that would restrict the discussion of gender and sexuality in schools, would limit trans people's ability to play sports from grade school to college, ban trans folks from using the bathroom that corresponds to their gender, limit or ban gender-affirming healthcare and criminalize those who would provide it, and permit institutions to discriminate against LGBTQ folks on religious grounds. This is, of course, a good time to remind everybody here that Judaism, our tradition, our religion, explicitly prohibits discriminating against LGBTQ folks. For we are both forbidden from doing anything that would endanger the life or well-being of another person, and we are explicitly commanded to uphold the fact that every single person is a reflection of the divine image. To practice our religion freely means to live in a country that respects the dignity of all people. Yet these same bills hinge on arguments of religious freedom and of family values and children's welfare, while simultaneously denying the truth claims of our own tradition and the integrity of our families and what we know to be best for our LGBTQ children. So I am angry, and I'm sad, and I am really tired of this, as I imagine many of you are. And as these lawmakers find novel ways to embed discrimination into the fabric of this country through school boards and court orders and executive actions, I must admit that I'm beginning to feel a little hopeless. And maybe some of you are too. And in this way, these 238 bills and counting, regardless of whether they succeed or fail, have already achieved their purpose: to make us feel less than, to make us doubt our ability to change this world for the better, to make us question our worth. How do we maintain our dignity at a moment that actively conspires against it? Our tradition has something to say about that. In the narrative arc of the Torah, as Rabbi Lizzie mentioned earlier, the Israelites have just completed the Mishkan, this portable synagogue and community center that will carry with them for the next 40 years of wandering through the wilderness, and are in the process of directing the people who will care for this space. And we are told that Aaron and his sons will serve as priests, maintaining the sacrificial system that is going to serve as that primary interface between the people and God. And these past few chapters have been devoted to the long and detailed instructions on how they will dress and what they'll need for each sacrifice, and the content and quantity of each of them. We have finally, after all of these chapters, arrived at the moment when Aaron, freshly ordained as a priest, will assume his duties in this sacred role. And this is the moment. God is present, and the people have gathered, and the tools and materials are ready, and he doesn't move. So Moses says, Krav el hamizbeach. Aaron, approach the altar. This is the task you've prepared for. Do it. Of course, the rabbis take this seemingly banal interaction and ask, why in the world did Aaron hesitate? He has been given clear instructions. He is dressed for the job. He has everything he needs to do. Yet despite all of these external signs of readiness, the rabbis recognize that Aaron did not feel worthy of this sacred task in his heart. We have to remember that Aaron was born into slavery. Most of his life has been spent in a context that taught him to undervalue himself and deny his own worth. He has been overworked and underfed and dehumanized every step of the way. And even though he has made the physical journey from slavery to redemption, even though he has been designated by God, God's self, for this particular sacred task, even though it might appear to everyone around him that he is totally fine, Aaron is still struggling to untangle his self-image from the vision of himself that was shaped by decades of degradation. It takes Moses beckoning him to the altar to take this first step toward overcoming his doubt. So I want to be clear. Moses calling Aaron to the altar is a radical act, for it asserts the bold and courageous truth of Aaron's dignity against a world that has taught him to deny it. It is a statement of faith that reaches back to the very foundation of our tradition, encoded in those first chapters of the Torah, that each and every one of us is a reflection of the divine, a being of inherent worth and incredible ability. It is no small feat. But at a time that would have each of us believe we are less than, radical action is required. I sincerely believe, I really do believe that if you are alive at this moment, it is because you have a unique and sacred purpose that is needed to help heal this world. And we also find ourselves in a moment that pushes us toward hopelessness and despair. I get it. Every time I open up that stupid news app, I get it. But believing in our smallness, when we are called toward greatness, will only allow for those in power to enact violence against the most marginalized, which includes people in our own community, which includes people in our own families. This is personal for each of us. We all have a stake in this. Our tradition tells us when given the choice to affirm or deny the dignity of other people, we choose dignity every single time. This is that radical act. Radical because it moves against a society that encourages us to undervalue or devalue other human beings. Radical because it pushes against the instinct to do nothing, which is an easy option, and the option that those in power would love for us to take. Radical because it requires us to be big and to be bold. And I don't necessarily mean those things that we might think of automatically when I say big and bold. Here are three things that I feel are radical acts that help me choose life. The first is anger. Despite being taught my whole life to shy away from anger, I've learned that when harnessed in the name of justice, anger can be a life-giving and life-affirming force for change. Make that radical choice. Allow yourself to feel angry. Is there anybody in this room feeling angry about this? Yes, okay, thank you. Allow yourself to feel angry. Get angry that the rates of suicide and depression are increasing among LGBTQ teens and children. Get angry that 2022, the 3 months of 2022, is already the most violent year to date for trans and genderqueer folks in this country. Get angry that lawmakers are using their office to pursue discriminatory legislation rather than actually protecting our families and the lives of our children. Take that righteous indignation and pour it into action. Protest, advocate, call your legislators, vote. Good Lord, run for office. I don't know. Each of these are holy acts that our tradition obligates us to perform, as powerful and as essential as prayer. But of course, fire without kindling will burn out. Recognizing the blessings in our lives can be that thing that keeps our vitality stoked, especially when our anger threatens to crowd out other feelings that give us life. So I have to admit something. I've gone into maybe a little annoying habit of late of thanking my friends for their friendship. I text them a lot. But why not? Why not? What they have given me and what they continue to give me is a gift that is so easy to take for granted, but when we actually stop to think about it, is something so special. It's the gift of time. It's the gift of thought. It's the gift of presence. So make that radical choice. Make the radical choice of gratitude. We don't say thank you enough. We really don't. If you think you do, you don't. Perhaps we're scared that showing our appreciation for another person, we open ourselves up to rejection. And there is some truth to this, because in gratitude, there is incredible vulnerability. To say to another, you have given me something that on my own I didn't have. But that risk comes with the reward of affirming that the other has offered something to you and to the world that was so needed and so essential, and was up to that moment lacking. And finally, make the radical choice of love. Speaking at the Oxford Union in 2015, Dr. Angela Davis argued that love is perhaps the most extreme action that one can take, for it cuts to the very root of things, pushing aside the myriad ways that this world has obscured the truth of our dignity and our worth. Love is what allows us to recognize the image of God in each other and to be held in love, whether our own or that of another person, helps us remember that this divine reflection exists in each of us as well. Some real talk. The legislation that has been proposed is not grounded in religious freedom or family values or children's welfare. It finds its origins in hate. And it has been said so many times before, we meet hate and bigotry and fear with love. And I'm not talking about the turn your cheek, hug your enemy, gather around the campfire kind of love, but the kind of love that is proposed by Dr. Davis, an extreme love, a radical love, a love that protects and affirms and lifts up and honors and creates space for the other person to radiate that inner light that is so uniquely and so impossibly theirs. And so this is my blessing for each one of you, that when you feel overwhelmed by a world that is not as it should be, when you feel pulled towards hopelessness and toward despair, that you make radical choices, to be moved by your anger, to cultivate space for gratitude, to love with boldness and with wonder. And my sincere hope is that in those moments when we feel a bit like Aaron, disconnected from the sacred inheritance that belongs to each and every one of us, we find ourselves surrounded by Moseses. And when we encounter someone who's a bit like Aaron, I ask that you be their Moses, beckoning them to take that step into their power. Shabbat shalom.
modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim veyoseh laaretz vayosher yigaram hashamayim yimalach ushkinatu zah ushkinatu zah v'gohem eromimai hu Eloheinu eino el melkeinu efes ulatov כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום להשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל הארץ ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד bottom of 33 ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד So I mentioned earlier at least one person in our community who we're mourning the loss of in this past week. Devorah Cohen Peltz. Is there anybody who is saying Kaddish for somebody? If you want to stand and share who it is you're thinking about tonight as we bring all of their memories into the room. Everyone who we're thinking about, maybe not specifically naming or saying out loud, but holding in our hearts. And Madeline Albright. Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, is on page 34. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba. Amen. Ba'alma divrach rutei v'yamlik malchutei. B'chayechon yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv imrum. Yehei shmei Rabba v'orach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'ruchu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata tamiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Osei shalom b'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Yehi zichronam livracha. May their memories be blessings. I want to say thank you to all of you for hanging in during, I'm not sure, I didn't look up, but that throwback to Indigo Girls circa 1988. Thank you all for being present for that, for going through that with us, and maybe even singing. Somebody asked me today what my musical influences are, and the answer, there's only one answer. Well, no, there are two, Debbie Friedman and the Indigo Girls. And so y'all got a little taste of both tonight. We're gonna stand and close ourselves out. We have some Kiddush and some motzi. Yeah. Oh, everyone meet Anna Gelman, Shabbat producer extraordinaire, who produces out of thin air. Kiddush and motzi. All right. So I want to invite us to stand. We will close out with an Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace. And then we'll bless wine, bless bread, and invite everybody to stick around for some food after services. And if you do not, Shabbat Shalom, and I hope it's a restful one and a restorative one. The words for Oseh Shalom are on the bottom of 34. And Stephen, since we have two guitars, and since I just said that whole thing about Debbie Friedman, let's do her Oseh Shalom. It's so good, and it's so fun to do in two parts. Oseh Shalom, B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Switch. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Amen. We raise a glass, and I want to say to Andy Stein, who's about to head off to San Diego, who's been part of the sustainability team and part of this community for years and years and years, a send-off and so much love. We will miss you. Already.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kisham mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'tanu kidashta kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodsha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. There's more of that out the door.
Oh, this is alcoholic one.
It's Friday night, you know.
I can just hold it and you can bless
All
it.
right. Oh, guys, this is so weird. Post-pandemic, do we all reach in or don't we? Okay, the challah is pre-sliced, so when it goes around, you don't have to rip it off and like be all awkward about that. You could just take a piece, but we'll hold it up and we bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. I'm going to take a...
Did you just defeat the purpose of that?